Hi, my name's Jessica Jones and I'm a barrister at Matrix Chambers.
Hi, I'm Ed Jones. I'm a solicitor with Hodge, Jones and Allen Solicitors.
Ed, what do you think are the biggest challenges about this area of law on criminal records?
Well, I think there's an inherent tension in all these cases between two important and perhaps mutually exclusive points of principle. The first is the principle of public protection, the right of the public to be protected from individuals who might pose a threat to them. On the one hand, on the other hand, the right of individuals to put their criminal past behind them and move on with their lives. Now, as practitioners in this area, we want to achieve positive outcomes for our clients, and that means having the tension resolved in favour of having a person's past put behind them. But we're up against a judiciary and public authorities who obviously have to have the wider public interest in mind. And no clearer example that I could think of recently than in the case of W, which he was a claimant in the recent Supreme Court case of PG and W, where he had a conviction for an offence of actual bodily harm on his record from when he was 16 years of age, and he's now 47 years of age. But because ABH falls into that category of offences that will always be disclosed on a standard or enhanced DBS certificate, that means that, as I've said, it will always be disclosed. There is no discretion for it not to be disclosed. I personally think that was an unjust outcome for that individual. But the Supreme Court and obviously now the wider system thought it was an acceptable outcome because it provides the certainty of having a predefined category of offences that will always be disclosed.
I completely agree that W's case feels like an injustice. There's someone who hasn't committed any offences since they were a juvenile, and yet that offence continues to haunt them, continues to be disclosed. But I think that's the outcome of a rules-based system, isn't it? And criminal record, the management of criminal records is dealt with by a series of rules that we've set out and explained in the book. I think it was interesting that it, at the same time as finding that the injustice or the hard case that arises for W from that particular rule was okay, the Supreme Court also thought that a series of other rules that are used to determine what has to be disclosed about someone's criminal record were unlawful. And we're still waiting now to see what the government will do in response to the Supreme Court, having found that a number of the other rules simply can't stand, that the public interest in the disclosures was outweighed by the public interest in the person's right to put their past behind them. So I think that this is a really interesting area in which there are going to be political developments, and seeing how they play out in the legal sphere is going to be something really to keep an eye on in the coming months.